Attorney General's office has ruled that 11 officers involved in a chase and shooting in Paris last year were justified in their use of deadly force, according to our media partner, WMTW.
On May 6, 2024, Gary Porter was being taken into custody on a theft warrant. He was able to get into the driver's seat of an unmarked police truck and drive off. The review states Porter crashed the truck and refused to surrender, and that police fired the first shot when he got out of the call with a cell phone in his hand, which police said appeared to look like a gun.
The review also details how a detective accidentally shooting out of the rear window of their own police vehicle created the impression that Porter was armed. An officer shot Porter in the arm. Porter survived the altercation and no officers were hurt. Porter faces numerous charges, including assault on an officer.